there's 12 or so in this district, but with $9 of revenue pouring into the state coffers every day, I don't see expansions of employment going anytime soon. So the Ludo and asynchronous types of activities that are choice driven just give us the ability to provide a leveraged level of service that we wouldn't otherwise. Otherwise, these two would be answering simple questions like, how do I start in Google Classroom? Or Andy could have talked till he was, blue in the face, and that teacher he just spoke of may never have engaged in that the activity that he did by being able to do a Ludo without anybody looking, no judgment or anything like that.
You bring up a good point, Greg, and I tell people that we didn't develop the platform deliberately for this feature or experience, but what we hear from districts time and time again is a thank you from some of the people that are playing for providing them a safe place to learn, because there's so many times that they feel like they might stick out in an in-person type of a session, or they might ask the stupid question or what have you. So I'm interested in if, from a learner perspective, putting yourself in the shoes of the learner, if you feel like that is, that's something that Alludo is helping to provide, and then just overall engagement. Again, your district was the winning, had the winning school, but all of your other schools were up there too in terms of the numbers during March. So I say your district was very successful in engagement. How would you compare the type of engagement that you've seen over the past month, 2 months, not so much online, but compared to how you've been able to traditionally serve PD with a limited amount of coaches and resources?
Well, culturally, so I've been here 17 and a half months, not that I'm counting, but culturally, this was a sit and get, synchronous, same space, same time, same content, get in the boat, teach to the average, which we all know there is no such thing as average. So you teach to the average, and then you get the results you get, which is probably 10 or 15% retention. With this, with people being able to do it without being judged by their peers, nobody knows they're doing it. The only one that knows that they might have made maybe their first submission is not yet. Nobody finds that out. So I think this provides a way for people to take risks that they wouldn't ever take in front, just like you alluded to, would never take in front of their peers in the same space, same time type of environment. And we get all these hours of PD. We were fortunate, like Andy alluded to or said, they had a requirement of doing 2 hours a day. So, and they could have engaged in other things, but they, luckily for us, they chose to use this platform as their primary method of PD. And we got a little bit lucky, but luck and chance favored the prepared mind. So I think we were in the right place at the right time also.
Absolutely. So,
and I would have to say that we were able to see some of those struggling learners at times where they would struggle with some of the activities, and we always stayed positive with our feedback and our comments. And when they submit 2 or 3 times and it was not still quite spot on, Andy and I would have a conversation like maybe we should loop in their EdTech lead learner so that they could get some more personal time. So we had that real person in place that they might have a connection with, that we could also loop in. Or I sometimes would just go off on the side and email them a different way or do a screencast for them so that they could see the process. So you could kind of then differentiate, like we do for our students, how to help these other struggling teachers.
Right. As a learner myself, being a reviewer and an admin in the Alludo game, I was also a learner, and I was able to reflect on the kinds of activities, the kinds of content we were offering to. And as new things were coming, like distance learning and staying safe, I learned how to customize Alludo for the specific needs for our district, whether it was just borrowing or copying from the library of other districts or activities that we were able to access, or creating those activities myself so that they would be what we specifically needed. it was very empowering to do that and to create an Aludo experience, an Oside Aludo experience that was immediately and directly relevant to our staff. Um, and I'm working with our other central admins and TOSAs to work in their specific content areas. Hey, take a look at what we have in EL, those activities. Do these need to be modified? Do we need to augment our activities and add more that teach our staff exactly what they need to know and what our this district is trying to spread uh, as an aligned and a consistent message in this area. So that's our next step, is really building that up. And then the other thing that I've been starting to work with site administrators on is, how do we now take all of that learning that your site teachers uh, have been acquiring, and then come together and do a site reflection or grade level reflections as to the learnings and what are the game changers that you will need to really bring your whole grade level, your whole staff up to par with, so that you can appropriately and effectively address the needs of your families and your students at home. So that's kind of a next phase, and Aludo was the foundation that will give them that opportunity to be more effective and efficient in their now different um, teaching style or mode of teaching.
Well, that's a great segue into my next question is, given where we are right now, and there's a lot of unknowns, we're planning week to week and only a few weeks out at a time, because we're not really certain of what the future holds for the fall. But it sounds like you've already got some planning and ideas in place. But what are you doing for the future in terms of planning? You know, what are your backup plans and what have you, and how is that going to work for your district?
I'll speak to that for just a little bit. So the culture in this district is, or was, everything's done at a physical site, tethered to walls. Mobility, we couldn't even spell mobility. And now, and it was going to be quite a cultural struggle to implement a technology plan that's built around mobility and mobile learning. But this unfortunate situation has provided us the ability to accelerate the need. People now see the need for mobility and different ways of teaching, and it doesn't have to be face to face in a classroom doing direct instruction all the time. So it's created a great opportunity for us to basically implement with a little less resistance than we were getting, a technology plan that we built around basically, the future ready framework of addressing all areas, and my personal belief forever of mobility and ubiquitous internet connectivity. So this thing's just always been a natural. So it was a natural as a Chrome warrior, and it's a very natural thing as an Aludo person.
Great. Damon, any other questions?
Well, yeah, so first of all, thank you all. But
Yeah.
kind of Greg, as you're, we've been speaking with a lot of districts that are in various states of managing this crisis. Some of them are doing great, and some of them are, struggling a little bit more than others. What's your planning horizon look like right now? Where are you looking? Are you looking at next year yet? Are you still in this year and still sorting out that sort of stuff?
It's probably, I would say, 30% just trying to put out immediate fires and answer immediate questions of things that people are asking, and they've had to adapt. And if this would have happened next year, I think we would have been in a much better place, because we would have been able to do some stages of our technology plan, which again is built around mobility, both for learners and office staff even too. So this came along a little bit early, but what we're trying to do is the other 70% of the work and the cognition is to just basically keep implementing our plan. Now you're going to have some hiccups along the way because now budgets are going to be a little bit screwy, but we're trying just to proceed. So even the short term immediate stuff, we try to do what is going to be a long term solution. So I'm sure, I don't know, you're the only company I haven't seen, hey, get 60 days for free, right? So free like a puppy. Basically, I get 3 or 4 solicitations every hour. Hey, try our platform for free. And then if we took it upon ourselves to put all those out in the ecosystem, then take them away because we don't have budgeting for them next year, we would be, up a creek. So we're trying to focus by having less products, but more fidelity to product implementation. And then let's get good at these few things. And this is our PD or professional learning platform of choice going forward into perpetuity, or whatever passes for perpetuity. And so we're trying to circle the wagons and keep moving forward with our plan that was already in place, while still trying to address singleton kind of things like different types of conferencing platforms, etc.
That's like you said, fortune favors the prepared. So nicely done, by the way. It's great that you're able to have a plan, and although this has been accelerating, and it's nice to hear that your plan is still meeting the targets and meeting the needs, and helping you drive a future direction. So nicely done.
I'd rather be lucky than good.
Andy, you mentioned social emotional learning is a content area, and that is a content area that we hear of quite a bit, especially now. And we've built out some social emotional learning and wellness content in our catalog. I think we just released it this past week. I'm not sure if we've gotten around to sending out a notification yet to all of our administrators, but there is in the Alludo Learning library section of the catalog, there's an entire game with a variety of activities. You can probably build out an entire mission just on SCL. So if you want any support with that, we'd be happy to help.
Yeah, great. I'm always looking for new things, and our student support services, I try to work with them too. So, and empower them to look at these activities too, so we can build out exactly what's going to fit their mission or vision, moving our district forward too. So I will take a look at those, and we'll definitely reach out. You guys have been great in getting back to Kelly and me whenever we have questions. So it's been really helpful.
Wonderful.